He's standing there, camera lights flaring, crowd screaming, tux pressed so sharp it could slice glass. Robert Downey Jr., Iron Man himself, flashes that half smirk that says, "Yeah, I know. You didn't think I'd make it either." And the thing is, we really didn't. 20 years ago, this man wasn't dodging alien invasions. He was dodging cops, courtrooms, and cellmates. The tabloids called him finished, a Hollywood cautionary tale, with $1 million talent and a 10-cent fuse. Now he's the comeback king. How does someone crawl from jail to the Marvel throne? It's not luck, it's war. Let's rewind. Mid-90s Hollywood, neon, chaos, cocaine chic. RDJ was born for it. Acting was in his blood. His dad was a counterculture filmmaker who thought parenting meant letting his son smoke pot at 8. His mother was an actress, gentle and lost in that way artists sometimes are. For Robert, the set was a playground, and fame was oxygen. By his early 20s, he wasn't just talented, he was the next De Niro. Chaplin earned him an Oscar nomination. Then came the self-destruction reel. Drugs, arrests, rehabs, relapses, over and over. Like watching a genius drown in slow motion while insisting he was learning to swim. In 1996, police found him driving naked down Sunset Boulevard with a .357 Magnum and cocaine. You can't make that up. He told the judge he was sorry. Then he missed probation meetings, failed drug tests, got sent to jail. Again. The press had a field day. Late-night hosts turned his life into punchlines. He became that guy. The what a waste story every actor whispered about over champagne. But what nobody saw was that he wasn't just reckless. He was haunted. Addiction is like a virus that rewires your reward system. It's not willpower. It's warfare inside your skull. He said later that he didn't get clean because he saw the light. He got clean because he saw the consequences. A cell door clanging shut is louder than any applause. In 1999, when the judge finally sent him to prison for nearly a year, Downey hit bottom so hard, it cracked open something deeper. Rock bottom isn't poetic. It's fluorescent lighting, bad coffee, and time, too much time, to think. So what changes a man like that? It wasn't some Hollywood guru or self-help miracle. It was structure, obedience to boredom. He started waking up early, making his bed, reading, meditation. Routine became his rehab. He'd spent his whole life chasing chaos, and now order became the rebellion. When he got out, he wasn't magically redeemed. Nobody wanted to hire him. Studios looked at him and saw insurance risks with a pulse. Even Mel Gibson, a walking scandal himself, had to personally put up the bond to get Robert cast in The Singing Detective. That's irony dipped in gasoline. Then came 2003, Gothica. He was good, really good. But producers still kept his salary held in escrow, afraid he'd relapse before the credits rolled. He didn't. That movie paycheck was the first clean dollar he'd earned in years. Step by step, he started winning back trust, and that's harder than winning awards. Talent gets you applause, discipline keeps you alive. Now fast forward to 2008. Marvel is gambling everything on a second-tier comic book hero named Iron Man. They needed charisma, intelligence, swagger, but also vulnerability. Someone who could play a genius billionaire with a self-destructive streak. Sound familiar? The studio didn't want him. The insurance companies didn't want him. But Jon Favreau, director, risk-taker, madman, fought for him. Said Tony Stark was Robert Downey Jr. The suits said no. Favreau said, "Trust me." That's how history happens. One stubborn believer versus 1,000 doubters. Opening weekend. Iron Man soars. The world sees Downey in that red gold armor, smirking, improvising lines, owning every frame like he never left. Overnight, the man who couldn't get insured becomes the most bankable star on Earth. Every studio wants him. Every award show wants him. And yet, under that swagger, you can still see it. The flicker of someone who knows how fragile success really is. But this isn't just a story about fame. It's about redemption done the hard way. Downey didn't reinvent himself by denying his past. He mined it. Every quip Tony Stark throws is laced with the ghost of the man who once stared at concrete walls. Addiction taught him timing. Not comic timing, but survival timing. Knowing when to stop, when to breathe, when to say no. He jokes about it now. "I have a suit of armor. I can fly." It's funny because it's true. He built his armor out of accountability, one sober day at a time. He built flight out of forgiveness. From his family, his colleagues, himself. He rebuilt his brain chemistry, his reputation, his legacy. That's alchemy. That's turning rust into gold. And look, let's not romanticize it. He had money, connections, a safety net. Most people in that situation end up statistics, not superheroes. But he also had something else, the willingness to own his mess. In Hollywood, everyone's performing. RDJ started telling the truth. In interviews, he'd say, "I know who I was. I just don't want to be that guy again." That honesty is magnetic. It's rare. It's why audiences root for him. Then came Sherlock Holmes, Avengers, Oppenheimer. A career so bulletproof it feels scripted. But what keeps it fascinating is that he doesn't hide the scars. He wears them like medals. Every time he talks about addiction, recovery, or relapse, it's like he's daring the next generation not to make the same mistakes, but also saying, if you do, don't give up. There's a scene in Iron Man where Stark escapes captivity by building his first suit from scraps. Sparks flying, metal clanging, blood on his hands. It's messy, desperate, brilliant. That's Downey's real life in metaphor form. He built his comeback the same way, out of whatever broken pieces he had left. He wasn't saved by Hollywood, he saved Hollywood from its own cynicism. He proved that failure isn't fatal, that the world loves a sinner who learns. Of course, Hollywood loves redemption stories, as long as they end with box office gold. But RDJ's transformation went deeper than PR polish. He became a producer, a mentor, a philanthropist. He built a life outside the camera lens. He credits his wife, Susan, for anchoring him. "She's the miracle," he says. Maybe the secret to staying clean is falling in love with stability instead of chaos. When you listen to him now, he sounds like a man who's met his demons, negotiated the terms, and walked out with a peace treaty. "You can't live your life on autopilot," he says. "You have to show up." Simple words, brutal truth. Coming from him, it hits like gospel. Because this isn't a theory, it's lived experience, carved in scars and second chances. There's a brutal kind of poetry in watching someone rebuild the same house they burned down. Downey didn't just repaint the walls. He redesigned the foundation. He turned punishment into purpose. He turned pain into punchlines. He became the guy who could laugh about his past without being owned by it. The irony? The man once branded unreliable became the most dependable face in modern cinema. The guy who couldn't make parole showed up on set every day for a decade, leading an entire cinematic universe. And when he finally said goodbye to Iron Man, half the world cried. Because when he said, "I am Iron Man," we believed him. It wasn't just a line, it was a declaration of survival. What do you think of our video? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more videos.